what it is, welcome to a new video. Today we are doing another Discord suggestions, a series where you guys decide which videos I make. If you want to suggest one of your ideas, then make sure to go into the description of this video and go and join my Discord server, and then go to the video ideas channel and put your idea there. And then I will get around to it at some point in the future. But yeah, today we're going to be taking a suggestion from FNAF22, who says, I think a cool video idea could be to talk about characters who you think deserve better in Mortal Kombat. Now, this is not going to be characters who have potential, but that potential just hasn't been tapped into, because that's a little bit different from kind of characters who deserve better, because the characters that have potential, they don't really deserve anything because they haven't proven to be cool characters yet. They just have potential. But with characters that deserve better, they've shown that they can be a cool character in one or even multiple instances. So they kind of actually deserve it. So there's a difference there, and I just want to make it clear. So it's not going to be characters like Kai or Natara or the Chameleons, because, well, yes, they have potential. They haven't actually done anything that I believe actually gets them a deserving shot at being in this list and deserving to be better. A better example of a character that actually deserves better is, well, we might as well just get into the list right now. Firstly, Havoc. Havoc has proven that he can be a cool character. Not only was he pretty dang cool in Deception and Armageddon, but he was also in the Mortal Kombat X comics, where he was kind of the overarching threat, and again, he was super cool. Just the Chaos Realm and even the Order Realm in general have not been portrayed very well in recent games, especially with Havoc specifically, because he just flat out has not been shown at all. He hasn't even had a cameo, unless you count endings, which I don't really count those. At most, when it comes to the actual canon story, he's had mentions. And that's it. For such an awesome character, he does not deserve to just be mentioned from time to time and then never actually shown or even do anything cool. I think Havoc could be a really cool character that in his first introducing story, which I believe will be Mortal Kombat 1, because he's been asked for so many times, and if he's not in Mortal Kombat 1 in some capacity, whether it's as a main fighter or a cameo fighter, people will riot. So I do think he'll be some sort of side character, and I think that's kind of the best way to go, because you can't just have the first game that he comes back from to be just the game where he's the big bad or has super major story significance, because he's not a character that general audiences know. So you gotta kind of be careful with just shoving to a lot of people, new character down people's throats. So you want to just kind of ease it in, set it up, and I think Mortal Kombat 1 is a good opportunity to do that. Maybe if there's some sort of MacGuffin that the main heroes have to get, and it happens to be in the Chaos Realm, they can visit it, meet Havoc, and I think that could be a really cool setup for him to be something more major in the future, whether it's as an antagonist or even one of the protagonists, because Havoc is a neutral character. If you guys didn't know, a lot of people assume he's evil because of his design and just kind of overall aesthetic and personality, but he is a neutral character, because if he was a straight up hero, straight up villain, then that would kind of defeat the point of him being chaotic and not really fitting into anything. So yeah, Havoc's a neutral character, and they could do a lot with that, so I hope they do in Mortal Kombat 1 and this future new era timeline. Next character I want to talk about is Kung Lao. Now, we all know the memes. Play the montage. But even if you disregard the fact that he seemingly dies in, at this point, every single piece of media he appears in, he has still not been represented very well in the more recent games and adaptations, because he has been very cocky and arrogant. He wants all the glory. He wants to steal Liu Kang's spotlight. And that's just not the Kung Lao from the original timeline, who was very peaceful. He did not want the glory, but kind of had to fight, kind of had to show off, because he was the descendant of the great Kung Lao, and that's a lot to live up to. And so he was kind of forced into doing those things, even though he really just wanted to live a normal life. Now, I'm not really a huge fan of either of these versions of the character. I believe a middle ground would be the best possible way to go, where he definitely still cares about the glory. He definitely still cares that he's portrayed well, I guess, but he's also not like dishonorable or immature about it. I think the perfect middle ground and the perfect showcase of what I want is Mortal Kombat 2021. Because it's clear in that movie that he cares about the glory. Because it's clear in that movie that he cared about the glory and that he cared about looking good and being flashy and, you know, being the descendant of the great Kung Lao. But at the same time, he wasn't like super immature about it. He wasn't ever trying to steal Liu Kang's spotlight, which, to be fair, in that movie, Liu Kang didn't have much of a spotlight on him. But at the same time, he wasn't trying to like steal other characters' thunder or anything. And I think it was just like the perfect way to go for the character. And if you're going to do Kung Lao, I want that to be how you do Kung Lao. So hopefully in Mortal Kombat 1, where they seem to be taking more of an original timeline approach just from what I've been seeing, hopefully they can sort of balance it out a bit more. Next character, you guys all know, I'm very biased when it comes to Bi-Han, SubZero, Noob Saibot, whatever you want to call him. But in the recent games and even in some of the movies, he has not been portrayed very well at all. When it comes to him as SubZero, in Mortal Kombat 9, he wasn't great. He showed up to fight Sonya, lost to Sonya, showed up to fight Scorpion, lost to Scorpion. So yeah, not a great showing. And then, actually, he hasn't been SubZero in the games since Mortal Kombat 9, so Mortal Kombat 1 will be the first time we've had a Bi-Han SubZero playable since over 11 years ago, Mortal Kombat 9. That's crazy. But we do know that a Bi-Han SubZero can be a super interesting character, and in my opinion, a more interesting character than Kuai Liang, because he just has a lot more going on in the head, where he's kind of in between being evil and being not evil. Not necessarily neutral, but he's just like kind of being pulled between them and doesn't really know what he wants to be. And in Mortal Kombat Mythology SubZero, even though yes, the cutscenes were a little corny, it still showed kind of that conflict of mind, especially at the end where he's like, okay, Shinnok and Quan Chi and all that, they said that only evil people can reside in the Netherrealm. So Raiden, am I an evil soul? And then Raiden's like, yes, you are, but that can change. And then he actually wanted to change it because obviously he doesn't want to be evil. He wants to be a good guy. But at the same time, he's just kind of drawn to more evil things. And that's just something I really like about his character, just that conflict. But, you know, when it comes to that hasn't really been shown in any recent adaptations or any of the recent games or anything, because Mortal Kombat 9, he didn't really have much of a character. He just showed up, died, and that was it. But then you also had Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge, and yeah, he also didn't have much of a character in that either. And then lastly, we have Mortal Kombat 2021, where yes, he was a very good character, and I loved him in that movie. He was admittedly just completely evil. Like, there was no doubt whether he was a good guy or bad guy. He was just like completely evil, no conflict or anything. And while I did like him in that movie for what that movie was going for, I would prefer to also see a more conflicted version of SubZero. So hopefully that's what we get in Mortal Kombat 1. Now, when it comes to Noob Saibot, it's been much worse. Mortal Kombat Deception was the peak of Noob Saibot. That was the first game where we knew, okay, this is Bi-Han, the original SubZero, and he did a lot of cool stuff. He teamed up with Smoke. He tried to rip his brother in half, and in one of his endings, or I think in Noob Saibot's ending, he actually did rip Kuai Liang in half, which is super cool. I think he tried to do it in the actual story, but it didn't work. And, you know, I don't know. It's weird. Like, celebrating character wanted to rip his brother in half, but I don't know. I just think it's cool. It fits with his character. All right, that's why it's cool. But yeah, then he was also in Armageddon, which he was still cool in that game, even though he had way less to do and was just a way less interesting character. Just him taking over the Lin Kuei, I thought that was super cool. And then after that, it just kind of went downhill. Mortal Kombat 9, he had one cool scene. One cool scene, and it was the "we share blood, but we are not brothers." That scene was dope. Everything else sucked. He was a jobber in that game, and that was really lame. And then he missed out in Mortal Kombat X. Okay, fine, whatever. Mortal Kombat 11, he came back, and once again, he was a jobber. But this time, he didn't have any cool scenes. Yeah. Oh well, though. Hopefully we get a cooler version of Noob Saibot in this new era timeline, because I believe he is probably going to be a separate character from Bihan, which I'm interested to see what they do with that. I still hope they kind of have the same edginess to him, because that's part of why I love Noob Saibot so much, but I guess we'll have to see. Next character I want to talk about is Kotal Kahn. Now this is another character like Havoc, where most of their coolness comes from the Mortal Kombat X comics. But after that point, yeah, just completely downhill. Like, the biggest downfall, one of the biggest downfalls in just all of Mortal Kombat history. And it was so sudden. It was so sudden. It all started with Mortal Kombat X, the actual game, where he was fine for his chapter. But then once you got to Kung Jin's chapter, yeah, that was the big point in which he made his downfall, because he got beat up by Kung Jin, a random Shaolin monk combat kid, and the Khan of Outworld lost to him in a fair fight. Yeah, just moment of silence for Kotal Kahn. There's going to be a lot of moments of silence, by the way, going forward. So let's just take a moment. All right, let's continue. Next, after that, it wasn't too bad. He made a peace treaty with Earthrealm to help them with, I think, finding the amulet or getting the amulet off of Melina, which is fine. So yeah, everything's going good. He's working with Earthrealm, and then Melina dies. He gets the amulet, but then decides he actually wants to keep the amulets and not give it to Earthrealm like they originally planned. And then he becomes just a generic evil bad guy, pretty much. Captures the Earthrealmers, and yeah, they escape. And he thinks that they're working with Devora for some reason, because Devora betrays him and then steals the amulet. And then it's just like, all right, this character isn't going too well in terms of just reasonability. But then even worse comes to when he tries to track down the Earthrealmers in the forest when they escape from his little prison, and he completely fails to capture any of them. And then when he finally does corner them with his giant army with multiple very strong characters, mind you, he just doesn't kill them and waits, like, basically just until SubZero shows up to actually try and kill them. And so, yeah, pretty pathetic. And yeah. Then you get to Mortal Kombat 11, where it gets much worse, because first of all, he completely lies to the past version of Raiden. Like, he just straight up said, "We helped you with Shinnok. We helped you defeat Shinnok, and we did it together," even though that's definitely not what happened. He tried to steal the amulet. In fact, him stealing the amulet is what got the amulet to Shinnok, so he's technically the cause of all of it. And then, you know, Kotal Kahn had to kill the combat kid, so yeah, I don't think you could really constitute that as helping. So, you know, a bit dishonorable from someone who's supposedly the more honorable Khan. But then he, of course, tries to eradicate the Tarkatan race. Jade does not like that and beats him up. And then he gets captured by Shao Kahn. His back is broken. Another moment of silence. All right, let's continue. And then he needs to be transported to the soul base thingy, the chamber of souls, the soul chamber, whatever, to be healed. But then they pull him out of healing so that they can revive Sindel. But then he, like, gets mad at Shang Tsung, tries to beat him up, but then like Shiva just puts him in a headlock, and then it's just like, this is just kind of sad at this point. And then they get onto the boat with the Earth Realm armies, or the armies trying to defeat Kronika. And then he's killed, has his head chopped off, and rolled down the boat thing. So, once again, third and longest moment of silence. All right, let's continue. So yeah, he definitely doesn't have the best track record when it comes to, I don't know, showing his qualifications for being Kahn. And honestly, he's like this close from just being another character with potential that hasn't been tapped into. But the Mortal Kombat X comics really save him because he was super cool in those comics. He chopped off Goro's arms. And that was single-handedly one of the coolest things any Mortal Kombat character has ever done. Like, you can't deny that. Like, chopping off Goro's arms, like all of them, by the way. Like, chopping off just like one of his hands or something, and then slicing up his like stomach, and then shoving like your weird tonfa thing into his eye. That's not nearly as cool. In fact, that was really lame. Also, you kind of had literal plot armor at the same time. I'm just saying. But anyways, Kotal Kahn can be a cool character. Mortal Kombat X comics prove that. There's also just a lot of potential there that people have talked to death about. So, he deserves better. But very, very close to just being a character with potential. But it was really cool in the MKX comics, so I'll give him that. Moving on, next we have another character who was in the MKX comics. I won't say all of his coolness comes from those comics, but a big portion of it does, and that is Reiko. Now, Reiko is a very smart tactician. A lot of people think of him as just like a Shao Kahn wannabe, but I think he's very smart in his own right, and there's a reason why Shao Kahn selected him to be the general of his armies, because he can think 2 steps ahead of his opponents, and you know, that is very important. I think that could be a really cool thing to implement into the gameplay, like, I don't know, some sort of prediction system. I don't know. Maybe that's already in most of the characters, but I don't know. Just, I'm not a super big gameplay person, so maybe that would be cool, maybe it wouldn't be. But we're mostly talking about story here, and with the story, yeah, he's kind of like Havoc in the way that he basically has only been mentioned throughout the more recent games. He hasn't appeared since Armageddon. He was in the Mortal Kombat X comics, but those aren't canon anymore. But yeah, he's a cool character, and the Mortal Kombat X comics showed that. And he was also pretty cool in Armageddon and Mortal Kombat 4, but he wasn't like the coolest character ever. And, you know, recent adaptations, specifically not even the games, just like the actual adaptations, have really damaged him in recent years. I mean, firstly, I want to talk about the less offending one, and that is Mortal Kombat Battle of the Realms. I talked about this in my Battle of the Realms, like, it was either like the actual rant video, or it was the one talking about like the trailer stuff, but Katana is literally explaining the battle plan to Reiko in one of the scenes, which is just completely backwards. Like, it should be Reiko explaining the battle plan to everyone. But that's a minor offense. Other than that, he has like one line in the movie. He was severely underused, and then he got beat up by Raiden. So yeah, kind of pathetic. But the adaptation that was a quite bit more damaging was Mortal Kombat 2021, where Reiko was just a big, dumb brute who screamed a lot. And yeah, that obviously was just a massive blow to the character because he didn't have any lines, and all he did was scream. And, like, I don't even know how you would receive battle plans from a character like that. Like, it would just be like, just mumbling nonsense. And so, yeah, those adaptations really damaged his character, and people think Reiko is lame. And that one ending from Mortal Kombat 4 also really doesn't help, because he just walked into the room, put on Shao Kahn's helmet, and it was supposed to be like a reveal, like, oh, he's actually like Shao Kahn reincarnated, but then they retconned that, and so it just kind of made him seem lame. Like, okay, you're walking into his throne room and wearing his helmet. That's kind of weird. Like, fanboy much, but whatever. Reiko can be a cool character. He just needs more to do. I think he could fit very well into the world of these Mortal Kombat 1 universe. So yeah, we'll have to see more of Outworld and how it functions in this newer timeline before I make like any predictions or sort of ideas for what he could do. So we'll have to see that, but Reiko has a lot of potential, and I think he should be in this next game. Now lastly, we have a character who probably had the biggest downfall. Like, started up here and is just like the camera can't even show how low my hand is going, but like just like down here. And that is the Prince of the Shao Kahn race, the former champion of Mortal Kombat, Goro. Now Goro in the original timeline was an honorable prince. He was royalty. He was a figure of the Shao Kahn race. He wasn't just like a big dumb monster that sat in a cave until Shao Kahn needed something. No, he was an actual public figure in a way. Like, he wasn't like a politician or anything. I mean, technically he probably was, since like he's a prince, but at the same time, I don't know. There's not really much politics in Mortal Kombat, but the point is that he was a figure. He was a showcase of the Shao Kahn race. He was glorified. He was looked up to. And, him losing, it was kind of a big deal for his character, and he was very prideful, and he felt a lot of glory, and I think they haven't really tapped into that, because they just want to make him like the Hulk, a big, dumb monster that just works for other people, and that's kind of lame. Especially since in Mortal Kombat 4, he made a peace treaty with Kung Lao, so it's not like he's just evil and just like hates Earthrealm or anything. He does what's best for his race, or what he sees best for his race. So that's why he wants to fight in Mortal Kombat, because first of all, he gets a lot of glory from it, and second of all, it means Outworld merges with another realm. That's more resources for everyone in Outworld. So he just wants what's best for his realm and his people, and so yeah, I think they need to tap more into that side of the character, but they haven't. Instead, they've just made him kind of a dumb monster, a servant basically, and you can see that in Mortal Kombat 9, where he's basically just there, I guess. There's not really any glory to like his big appearance. Like, think of like Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge, like how epic they made his like entrance seem in that movie. Mortal Kombat 9, like, he just kind of shows up. There's not really any epicness to it. That kind of sucked. And don't get me wrong, Mortal Kombat Legends Goro still is not that great. Like, I don't think he had much lines, and he didn't really give off like Prince vibes. He kind of just came off like another big dumb monster. But regardless of that, Mortal Kombat X, he was a DLC character, and of course in the comics he had all his arms chopped off, so that wasn't his best showing. And then, in the actual game Mortal Kombat X, he was pretty cool. Mortal Kombat 11, he's dead. So, yeah. Will they make Goro better in Mortal Kombat 1? If you look at his design, it doesn't seem like it. In fact, this seems like a massive downgrade. Not only is he like normal person height, but this design is also atrocious. So hopefully there's some way to get a classic design in there, because he's like the only cameo without their classic design for some reason. Oh yeah, and there's also Mortal Kombat 2021 Goro. Once again, he's just kind of like the other Goros that have been portrayed recently. Just another big dumb monster that barely has any lines. Yeah, kind of dumb. But Goro can definitely be better, and I hope that Mortal Kombat 1 shows that he can be better, because he is confirmed as a cameo, so Maybe he'll be in the story. It's kind of been like wishy-washy whether cameos are in the story, because sometimes it's just like, okay, Ed Boon said that cameos are not canon at all. But like there has to be some sort of explanation for like why these characters are popping into the story, like the story fights. So I'm assuming that there are going to be cameo characters that are canon. Or else it would be kind of weird if like you're fighting, and then just a completely unrelated character from the story, from what's going on, like continuity wise, even just like space time wise, just a character pops in, does something, and then leaves. Like that would be kind of weird, wouldn't it? So I doubt they're going to do that. So hopefully, especially with Goro having his own unique design, he is a part of the story. I don't know what he's going to do, because with Melina supposedly being Khan, and with Katana being there, and Sindel might be there, Onaga might be involved somehow. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. I would like to do more of these. I'm kind of conflicted of whether I want to do more in-depth, like maybe only one character per video, where I just completely go over what could be done to the character to make them better. I think that could be something cool that I could go over with just every Mortal Kombat character, because every character realistically in the series could be better. Or should I just like continue doing what I'm doing here, where I include multiple characters in one video but don't go as in depth with each of them? You guys let me know. I'm very interested in doing both. I could probably do both at the same time, but I don't know if that's like kind of weird or repetitive. So you guys just let me know. Should I do just one of them, or should I do both? And if I should just do one of them, then which one should I do? You guys let me know in the comments. I'll also probably put up a poll in my YouTube community, so definitely check that out. It'll probably come out within a day of this video being released, so definitely look out for that. But yeah, make sure to join my Discord server. Link is in the description, so you can put up your ideas, or if you don't have any ideas, you can just like kind of chill, hang out. Vibes there. You can also check out some of my merch. I got a lot of different designs. We got the ketchup and mustard design, which I really love how those turned out. We got team designs, and we also just got like normal Uncommon Oddity merch if you want to check out some of that. Also consider joining the channel membership for $5 a month. Pretty much you can get badges, emojis and stuff. Like $10 a month, you can get exclusive non-Mortal Kombat related content. So definitely consider joining that. Make sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like this video, and with that being said, that's it for this video, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.